These are the top 10 tips for traveling. Welcome to Crocs in the Kitchen.
I'm Jessica.
And I am Brian.
As you can see, we are back in the kitchen.
We are back.
But we were traveling, actually it's been a few weeks ago now, and we decided while we were traveling that we would record some tips for you guys of things that we have learned in the past and then things that we even learned along the way on this trip.
Yes, you can go back and watch those travel vlogs if you want, or if you've already seen them, you might see some of the same footage in this video. But we decided to go through and film some tips for you guys, even though, you know, we didn't necessarily stick 100% to our diet, our lifestyle. But these are tips that we know that you can do, that you can implement to help keep yourself on track anytime that you do actually travel.
Yeah, these are things that we've used in the past. Like I said before, I have done trips where I've stuck pretty much 100% as much as I could. And these are some of the things that help keep us in line. And honestly, like, it's all a work in progress for us. We're trying to learn what travel looks like in this new lifestyle for us.
Yep.
Like, we're trying to balance it out. Obviously, we love to experience new things and try new food, but we have, you know, we don't want to completely go off the rails and just, you know, abandon ship from everything that we've learned and the way that we normally eat. So it's a delicate balancing act. But what I have found is if you do some preparation, you have some tips in mind, you bring a few things with you, it can definitely help out. So why don't we show them the tips we recorded for them?
Let's get to it.
All right, so for our first travel tip, we are going to show you what we do sometimes when we're on a road trip and we know that we're not going to be able to find food because, you know, there's limited places on the highway that you can stop by that have something that would be compliant. So what we do is we'll take a meal like this, which is Brian's super, what do we call it? Super tasty vegan chili
Yeah, I think that's what we called it.
And it has been frozen. And we each have one. And so we just put it in the Pyrex, we froze it. We actually put it in the fridge for like during the day today. And then what we'll do, so now it's in a cooler, my lunchbox. And what we will do is try to find a Love's travel stop, which for us, they're all along the way, but I'm sure there's different like kinds of travel stops or different.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different gas station type things that you can go and stop at.
So what you do is you stop there and they always have a microwave, right? And so you can just take your thing in there and then we will stop and eat our chili and heat it up. And then, you know, we'll of course buy something from the gas station, like, you know, a drink or like a tea or something like that, or and we'll buy gas there as well. So we're not just like mooching off of their microwave for free. But yeah, that's basically the tip.
Yeah. Stop at a gas station and heat up some food that you brought with yourself.
The other cool thing is if you're traveling with someone else who's not following the same lifestyle as you, so a lot of times I'll travel with my mom, what I will do is at the Love's travel stop, and that's why I like them, because you can really find at any gas station, you can really find a microwave, but what I really like about the Love's travel stop and like the bigger travel stops in general is that they a lot of times have restaurants in there. So I think the one that we're going to try to find has like a Subway and a McDonald's in there as well. So when I'm traveling with my mom, she can go get whatever she wants from Subway, McDonald's, whatever, while I microwave my thing, and then we use like the open seating area and just sit and enjoy our lunches together, and we can each have what we want to eat, and she doesn't have to compromise and I don't have to compromise, and everything's peachy.
Good tip, Jessica.
Thanks.
Tip number 2 is to find a hotel that has a breakfast included, like a continental breakfast, because you are very likely to find things like oatmeal and fruit and who knows what else they might have.
All right, so for tip number 3, it is find some kind of market that has multiple food options. So we're here in Columbus, Ohio at North Market, and it's somewhere that we've been meeting I have family in Columbus, and we've been meeting them here for years. But it turns out finding some kind of open air market type build, you know, like I don't know, is it technically open air?
I don't think so, because it's inside.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, finding some kind of market where there's multiple food vendors will be helpful because you can find something that you can eat and everybody else can get whatever they want to eat. And yeah.
Not to mention, this place has one of my all-time favorite spice shops.
Oh, yes.
Just to find some really interesting and cool things.
And they also have a place where you can find balsamic vinegars, like different flavored ones.
Really good
So
stuff.
we'll definitely be checking that out.
Tip number 4 is bring your own snacks. I know we don't normally snack on things, but when you're on a road trip or a long trip of any kind, generally you want to have food on hand that you can just grab and eat. And so we've got some, let's see, freeze-dried apples, some freeze-dried mango, some dried pineapple, and of course, Larabars, because Larabars are really good and they are compliant, but you know, they're pretty high in calories if you're actually focusing on that kind of stuff. But they are super, super tasty. I like the pie ones the best though.
Yeah.
And of course, we've also got some crunchy chickpeas. Now, these do have a little bit of oil in them, but you know, they are really great if you just need an extra bit of protein and if you just need some extra crunch and stuff in what you're eating. So we really, really like these, and they are really, really great for road trips.
All right, tip number 5 is to find a grocery store, and don't be afraid to eat one of your meals from the grocery store. So especially if they have a salad bar. So we are at Whole Foods right now and we're gonna get some salad from their salad bar. And so you can also though just find a grocery store. Literally you can find a bag of frozen veggies or some fresh veggies, some hummus. Take it back to your hotel if you have a microwave or a refrigerator in your hotel. Don't be afraid to use the grocery store as your meal option.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to a Walmart on my first night in Atlantic City, ended up buying a bunch of fresh fruit and a bunch of vegetables already packaged in little individual things. It was absolutely fantastic for what I was doing, and it kept me going throughout the weekend. So yeah, go to a store. It's just that simple.
Yeah, so we're gonna get some salad.
Tip number 6 is find an extended stay hotel, especially if you are staying in the same city for several days. We are currently in Philadelphia, and we are staying here in this lovely little room with a full kitchen. It has burners, it has a dishwasher, has a sink, microwave, and a full refrigerator, which is absolutely amazing. It actually came with a bunch of dishes and pots and pans, and some plates, bowls, and all sorts of stuff like that. And of course, all the silverware you could possibly need. It's just, we are only here for a couple of days, and so we didn't really get a chance to actually utilize the kitchen. But if you are in the same city for a while, it just makes a lot of sense to just cook at your hotel room. Because why not?
All right, so tip number 7 is do your research. So we like to use things like Yelp, and you can search for keywords like vegan or salad or anything like that to try to find good options at restaurants nearby you. The other thing I like to do is on Instagram, I'll find like the vegan hashtag for that city. Like when we were in Philadelphia, it was, hashtag vegan Philly. And so I searched that on Instagram. And I like to do this because you can scroll through and visually see, okay, here's what some of the food looks like at some of these places, and you can kind of weed out which are vegan junk food options and which might actually have a relatively compliant dish for you to eat. The other thing, Brian downloaded the Happy Cow app the other day, and that actually lets you find restaurants in the nearby vicinity with vegan options. But right now we're going to go to a place called Greens and Greens, or is it Greens and Greens? I don't remember. But it is something that I found on Yelp a few years ago when visiting the Atlantic City area, and they have some pretty decent options. So we're going to go check that out.
Tip number 8 goes along with our previous video. Bring some instant soups, and of course we have our travel kettle. So that way you can make soup in your hotel room. It's very, very simple. And in fact, we have made ourselves some hot and spicy soup from Dr. McDougall. We're gonna eat this and then get back onto the road because we got a good bit of driving to do today.
Tip number 9 is to have a plan before you travel. So have in mind, you know, sit down, talk with whoever you're traveling with, if they're following the same lifestyle or not. Talk with them and tell them like, hey, this is what I'm planning on sticking to. So for us, we had conversations and I was like, my goal was to stick more to our whole food, plant-based lifestyle as much as possible on this trip than we have in previous trips. Previous trips, we've just completely abandoned ship and gone off the rails. I'm trying to like get us to a better place. So my plan for this trip was to, you know, can we do 50-50? Can we do 75-25? You know, can we be on 75% of the time? What, you know, it's hard to say what percentage, but you just to have that in your mind of like, okay, maybe we're going to do breakfast and lunch is going to be as compliant as possible, and then dinner is going to be whatever we want it to be. Or, you know, you're going to allow yourself one thing that's off during the day, but try to keep it portion controlled. Just having those conversations and planning in advance, setting up the expectations of what you're wanting to do, I think can go a long way. Because if you just like leave and go on the trip and then you eat one bad thing and then you're like, I might as well just eat bad the whole time, and you don't have that like sort of guiding thought in your head, I think it can for me would mess me up a little bit more. So I'm trying to work on that, definitely, is like having a plan in place before we go.
Tip number 10 is have a plan in place for when you get back. So one of the things that we do is that we actually plan for what we're going to eat when we get back from vacation. Usually this involves freezing some soups or our chili or something like that and having it in the freezer, because obviously if we're gone for any length of time, we're not going to have like fresh fruit and vegetables on hand, but we make sure that we've got a lot of like frozen vegetables or stuff like that we can easily make whenever we do get back. And it doesn't matter when we get back, because as some of you know from previous videos, one of our hardline rules is no bad food in the house. And so that means like none of the unhealthy stuff whatsoever. But if you plan ahead and you plan for what you're going to eat when you get back to your home, and it's all ready to go the second you get back, it makes it a lot easier to jump right back into your regular way of eating, and it makes it a lot more difficult for you to justify going out and getting something bad whenever you do get back. In previous trips we were on, we'd get back on our vacation and just be like, oh, we'll get back started tomorrow.
Yeah, it's easy to say, oh, we didn't go grocery shopping yet, we don't have a plan, like it's Sunday night, let's just wing it this week and then, you know, see what happens, and then the weekend we'll get back on track. It's easy to keep kind of extending the vacation.
Yeah.
And so what we found is we use our calendar, which is you always see in our thing, we fill that out before we go on the trip. We decide what we're going to have for the meals. We make sure that we have things frozen if need be, that we could just thaw out. The other thing I really like to do, and actually we did not do for this trip, and it really threw me off, was to prepare the shopping list. So before we leave, I want to have my shopping list for what I need to buy when we get back, all the fresh stuff, like printed and on the counter for when I walk in the door, so that night or whatever, I can just go out and buy the stuff and get it done with. And I did end up going and shopping the day we got back, but it took a lot more effort because I didn't have the list already ready to go, and it was very tempting to just be like, maybe we just won't have salads this week.
Yeah. And don't just plan for when you just get back. So we not only planned for the day we got back, we also planned for lunches going forward for like 2-3 days with options that we could actually do. But fortunately, Jessica went out shopping and got all of our normal stuff, and we did our salad prep and all that, so we were ready to go the next night.
Yeah. So those are just a few of the tips that we like to follow. Like I said, we're not saying that this is 100% what we follow every time we travel.
And we're not like professional travelers either. You know, we don't have this all down and ready to go.
As we learn more, we have a few more trips coming up. So as we learn more, we'll definitely share with you if we find anything else that works for us. But I am interested to know what kind of travel tips you guys have. So you guys are always really good at helping us out with other ideas and helping out the people in the comments as well who might be looking for other ideas.
And we're always wanting to learn something new and get some new tips and you know, stuff like that.
I've even, actually, since we filmed all the tips while we were traveling, I've seen some other tips you guys have posted on some of our travel videos that are definitely really good tips. And I think people overcomplicate this stuff sometimes too much, where it's like my favorite one is just go to a grocery store.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be like, you can literally go to a grocery store and find anything, you know, like you don't have to overcomplicate it and have all these pre-prepared things and all that. Just go buy, like I've just gone to a grocery store, buy a bag of frozen veggies and throw it in a microwave in a hotel.
Yeah.
Just don't overcomplicate it. But
I would say, though, one tip that we could have possibly added here was many of the people out there commented and said, hey, you were in my neck of the woods, just swing on by and I'll cook for you.
Yeah, apparently we're set next time we travel.
We just keep going to different cities and just keep getting meals along the way.
The comments is like, we can cook you a whole food plant-based meal. I was like, awesome.
It's like, wish I would have known that before I'd gone.
I am really sad that the day when we met Brittany Giroudi from the Giroudi family YouTube channel, she made pumpkin pie and ice cream like the next day, and I was like, ooh, we should have planned that better, and then we could have had some of her ice cream.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that if you can try to start incorporating some of these little things into your travels, and know that you're not necessarily gonna be perfect every single time. Like it's a work in progress.
And these aren't like the 10 commandments of traveling. These are just some tips that we developed, that we figured out, and hopefully you can utilize some of them, you know, and going forward on your travels.
Yeah. But other than that, what else you got to say, Brian?
I would say please subscribe if you have not done so already. We would greatly appreciate it. You can click that subscribe button and then click the bell notification that is right next to it. Also find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram. I believe we're on Twitter and Pinterest as well. And find us on there. You can totally interact with us, send us messages. We do greatly appreciate that stuff as well.
Also, if you want a review of these tips, remember that there's a blog post that goes along with every single video. So if you click the link in the description below, there's a blog post that outlines all 10 of the tips if you want to like print it out and, you know, take it with you when you travel or that kind of stuff.
And there's lots of nice photos there that Jessica takes, especially on the travel vlogs that we did. There were a lot of really, really nice photos that she posted there that you can't really see anywhere else. I don't think you posted them to Instagram or anything.
Yeah, I did post some of them.
Yeah, but there's other ones on there that you may not have seen
Us
before.
making weird faces.
Exactly.
And my hair when the humidity got it in the ocean.
I thought she looked pretty. But I think that's all I got.
That's all I got.
We will see you next time on Crocs in the Kitchen.
Bye.
Bye.